So we know you can't really compare Michael Schumacher to Lewis Hamilton as a greatest driver because there were different eras. There was a crossover, but different phases. But people are always wanting to sort of look at how the certain generations compare. How would you respond to the general public on that?
Oh, well, I think that's a difficult one. But I mean, Michael in his time, and I raced against him. I was in the same team.
He was his teammate.
Yeah, he was special, and he was motivated, and he was fit, and I think he was very fast, and the same with Lewis. But I think not, that you not really can. Who's the better one, or would you say who had more luck to drive the fastest car at that time? Both had, Yeah. I think Michael created it more towards his liking. He took the people from Benetton to Ferrari, so it was basically a little bit the same team. And I think with Lewis, I mean, he made the right call to go to Mercedes at the right time. Nobody thought beforehand that he was winning 6 titles with them. And I think he's absolutely top driver, but he also had the top material.
So if we look away from this era and look back to the time before you were in Formula One, did you have a driver that stood out for you that either inspired you or you particularly followed, or it wasn't like that for you? You weren't
I
a
think
fanboy?
it was more like Niki Lauda and Alain Prost.
Yeah, Prost was someone that I always thought he was very efficient in the way he drove. He did have a bit of a weight advantage at that time.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
which
still has.
He still has. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So you're out there actually racing with Lewis. Michael, you know his records from the past. You know how your father can explain how he drove. When you look at Lewis, now I know you fear nobody. You attack the track and you do the best with what you have. When you have the opportunity, you've shown that you can beat the Mercedes and you can beat Lewis. Are you able, as a competitor, to recognise publicly his strengths and his weaknesses, or you prefer just to look at him as another competitor?
Now, the weaknesses are a little bit more difficult because you're not in the same team. Because I'm pretty sure if you would be in the same team, then you will see the weaknesses. But of course, of course he has the best car. He still has a teammate to beat, which he is doing. But he's also, very consistent in what he is doing for a long time now. I think, he doesn't make many mistakes himself. He doesn't crash. He always takes the points home. So that is something which is very important, and he does that very well. So he's definitely one of the best ever in Formula One. Just not only just pure championship-wise or whatever, but in terms of consistency. You've seen some other drivers make some silly mistakes or whatever. He's not really doing that. So that makes him tough to beat because you cannot have a crash, or you have to be always on it. But on the other hand, you're always starting on the first row, so the chance of a crash is not that big, instead of being on the second or the third or even further behind to try and catch up. So that's also another thing. Because once you're on the lead or second, when you're so comfortably out front with a strong car, it's very hard to make a mistake. So
one thing that I've been impressed with is